Okay, this testimony is for all my friends and family and all the youth, and I especially dedicate this testimony to Sandosh Uncle and all those people who have been praying for me all around the world and who've been praying and supporting me throughout the past year, couple of years. Um, in June of 2007, um, I had started to get close to the Lord. Um, I had been going to church and everything, but by around June, I started going to Bible study, started getting more involved in church, and as the months went on, I suddenly, a burden came upon me where I decided that I had to go after souls and I couldn't let people die and go to hell. And I had to preach God's word and tell people. And that became a real big burden upon me. And I started going out and I gave out tracts, went to the beach, places like that, in public places, handed out tracts, prayed with people, and did stuff. And started getting stronger and closer to the Lord. Later on that year, in around October, one day I was driving my bike to school, and I was driving down the highway, and a lady came and just cut straight across. And I wasn't wearing any helmet, no protective gear, nothing. And I went and I just crashed into her head on, straight crashed into her, and I was thrown forward, and I did a somersault in midair. And as I was coming down, I felt as if someone caught me, and two hands held me and just put me down. It wasn't like I fell down with force. And I lay in the middle of the road. I was laying down in the middle of the road, and then I asked God, "Why did you let this happen, O Lord?" I prayed, and you said you'd protect me and guide me. And as I was laying down, the Lord just said, "Get up and look at yourself." And I got up and I looked at myself, and there wasn't a scratch on my body. I was thrown around 10 to 15 feet away from my bike, and with the speed that I was going, I should have been thrown. The way I was thrown, I should at least skid or torn something. Nothing. There were no scratches, no bruises. There was nothing on my body. And if you look at the front end of my bike, I totaled the front end of my bike. And when I landed, also, um, just as I landed, a car that was behind me just barely stopped, like 4 or 5 feet away from me. That day, I knew that the Lord protected me and guided me, and He was there, and that no matter what, He's always there. No matter what situation we're in, He is there, even though it looks like something is wrong, something is bad. He protected me and He guided me, and He guides us all. He's always there looking after us. And I also knew that because I was getting closer to the Lord, the devil was attacking me and he was going to attack me more. Later on that year, in around December, I had a fever in the beginning of December. The middle of December, I had another fever. And I had gone for a regular checkup for my job. And in the checkup, they saw that my blood counts were low. I didn't really take anything serious about it because I thought that it would be maybe some kind, maybe I had malaria or jaundice or something like that. I didn't take it really seriously. I went to Kerala on the 24th of December, and that day itself I went to a doctor. As I walked into that doctor's room, I sat down, and the Lord told me that this doctor is going to tell you that you have blood cancer. And I was like, what? I didn't really understand or believe. I don't know what, but I just didn't really register with me, I guess. But then, like, again, the Lord said, this doctor is going to tell you that you have blood cancer. I was like, no way, it's impossible. I don't have blood cancer. I can't be sick. 5 minutes later, the doctor said, I heard the doctor say that you need to take a bone marrow test. And then I realized that I was actually pretty sick. And what the Lord was saying is, true. So that later that week, I went and I took a blood test. I mean, a bone marrow test, and it was very painful. And even though it was really painful, I went home and I had fever, and I just asked the Lord, Lord, why am I going through all this pain? Why am I going through all this? Why did you tell me that this doctor is going to tell me I have blood cancer? The Lord told me right there and then that it's for the glory of my name, and it's to glorify my name that I have to go that you will have to that I would have to go through all this. Right there and then, I decided I'd never question the Lord, and that I told the devil, just bring it, throw everything you have at me, because whatever you do, I'm not going to deny my Lord and my Christ. He guided me, He protected me, and He kept me safe so long. He will do the same for me. Later on, a week later, that same doctor, he diagnosed me with leukemia, AML, acute myeloid leukemia, and I was also diagnosed with. 3 days later, I came to the U.S. and the doctors here also diagnosed me with FLT3, which is a cytogenetics, which basically says that it's a very rare form, which says that I have a very high rate of relapse. Um, I went through chemotherapy. It was hard. There were a lot of times where um, I struggled. There was pain. I had different symptoms, things like that. After each chemotherapy, I kept on having infections. Um, the infections, they didn't know what was causing it. The third time I had my chemotherapy, I had an infection, and that infection got really bad. I was rushed into the emergency room. They thought everything got normal, and they put me into a normal room in the ward. And then suddenly my blood pressure dropped, and heart rate went up, and things started getting out of hand. 4 or 5 doctors rushed into the room. They said they had to rush me to the ICU. I don't remember going to the ICU or anything, but I remember I woke up in the ICU and I saw maybe 10, 15, 20 doctors surrounding me, and those doctors were trying to get my blood pressure and my heart rate back to normal. I knew at that point that the devil was attacking me and he was trying to kill me. He was trying to take my life, but then I knew that Jesus died on the cross and he conquered death and he controls death. And I knew that nothing would happen without the knowledge of my Lord. Somehow, one of the doctors was able to put an IV into my hand after 5 different doctors tried, and they got everything back to normal. Um, I went through one more chemo cycle after that. Right now, I finished all my chemos. My treatment is pretty much done. Planning on going back to India. But the doctors say that there's still an 80% chance that my leukemia will relapse. And they say that I need a bone marrow transplant. But I believe that Jesus Christ died on that cross 2,000 years ago, and by his stripes I am healed. And he shed his blood for me. And I don't need a bone marrow transplant, which means I need the blood of another person, because the blood of Christ flows through me. And with his blood, there's no impurities, no infirmities, nothing. I'm completely healed, and I'll never have any relapse of anything again. And I thank the Lord for taking me and protecting me throughout all this time. He's brought me through all this because I know he's been preparing me for the future, preparing me to do his work. Throughout the whole time that I went through the treatment, not once did I ever worry or doubt about my leukemia or the cancer that I had. I knew I was healed, and I knew that the only reason I came here was for the Lord to prepare me and the Lord to make a testimony out of me. And he has prepared me. He has changed the way I think. He has changed so much about me, and I thank the Lord for each and everything that he has done in my life. And I know that each and every one of you out there, if you're sick or anything, call upon the Lord and have faith, and he will heal you.